Okay, hey guys, this is Callie Butler, the communication specialist for WellStone, and this is a bizarre time, and I think we're all just trying to make it the best we can. But I wanted to utilize these digital opportunities that we have at the moment, even working from home. So today we are going to be talking about the top 3 trends that one of our therapists has seen throughout when everything COVID started. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. So Dawn, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dawn Beck. I've been at WellStone for almost 5 years, been in the mental health field for a little over 20 years, and I work with the adult mentally ill population in adult services in Huntsville. I love my job, and I'm just here to help Miss Callie out and hopefully help you guys out as well.
Okay, perfect. And thank you so much for being here, Dawn. So yeah, we'll just jump right into it. So from, I guess, March really is when everything started, when teletherapy kind of started. What are the top 3 trends that you've seen?
Well, I would say that the first trend that I saw was definitely an increase in anxiety. And that is normal. It's normal for people without a mental illness to experience an increase in anxiety during this pandemic. I mean, who hasn't? The staff here at WellStone, I know I have experienced an increase in anxiety. And so I would say that that would be the first trend, is an increase in anxiety. Um, the second trend might be an increase in depression, because we're now encouraging others to isolate rather than encouraging them to interact and get out and do fun things. And so for so many of our clients, that's been a challenge, because they set a goal to not isolate and now they're told to isolate. So that can increase that depression.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the third trend I have to say is that sometimes when we're interacting with clients in our phone sessions, I see that they are not prioritizing it as they would a real face-to-face session.
Right.
They might forget about it because it's from home. They might be asleep. They might have lots of background noise with kids or loved ones or pets running around.
Mm-hmm.
They could be at work. They could be not taking off work for their sessions, whether it's with their therapist or medical provider, or they could have a car full of people going down the road with the window down, lots of background noise. So those are the 3 of the major trends that I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what kind of, if you could give us, I guess, pointers that you have helped with the anxiety, the depression, and the not taking it really seriously, I guess, and not being in that correct mindset.
Mm-hmm. So for the first trend of anxiety, I just try to encourage people to remember that all of this feels permanent. This is temporary. It's not going to last forever. All we have to do is take one day at a time, and sometimes one moment at a time, to calm our nerves, to use some mindfulness techniques, to remember relaxation skills is really the only way to combat anxiety.
Yeah.
So what can you do to lower your anxiety? Not what we can't do, but what can we do to stay in our calm place? And I work with my clients a lot on those skills.
Yeah, I think that's really hard, even for people who don't usually have mental health issues, because this is so uncertain. This was thrown at us and out of nowhere, and no one really knew what to expect. So I think that's really great that you're telling people to just like kind of focus on what they can control, and that this is temporary. Like that's such a good reminder that I think all of us can use every single day.
Thank you. And that goes into a skill that I teach in DBT, which is radical acceptance, which is just what you were talking about with the control. It's like, if we can solve part of a problem, we need to make those positive steps to change what we can, and remember to accept what we can't change. If we can't control it, we don't have to like it or approve of it. But if we don't accept reality in this one moment, that it is what it is, then we're going to keep ourselves miserable. So radical acceptance is a big skill. It's not easy. but
Yeah.
it's worth it to learn.
Yeah, that's great. I've never heard of that before. So thank you for that. So as far as depression, I guess, because even though they're kind of similar in a way, they're different. Obviously, they're very different roads. So what about the depression part? Because that's a little harder to tame.
It is. Depression, you look at the symptoms of depression and you see people spending a lot of alone time. And I work with those clients to try to decrease isolation. And then when the pandemic hit, what do we ask them to do? Stay at home, isolate, don't be around others. And so I hear a lot of increased symptoms of depression. So with those clients, I really focus on what can you do. You might not can go. I had to cancel a beach trip. You might not can do the things that you had planned to do this summer. You might not be able to go to the places and be around the people that you wanted to do, family reunions and parties and concerts,
Yeah.
But what can you do to cope with depression?
Mm-hmm.
We can still get outside and walk. We can breathe. We can soak in the sunshine and get our vitamin D and free serotonin that way. We
Mm-hmm.
can go fishing. I saw a lady on the news having a pod party. If you haven't heard about that, look it up. It's
Yeah.
really unique.
Yeah.
Staying in touch with friends and family members through phone calls, through social media. They can come to your house and sit in your front yard in a lawn chair and talk to you on the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do and still stay safe at the same time? Gardening. I made some notes over to the side, sorry, but gardening has been my saving grace. I should have lined up my canned goods, but I learned to use a pressure canner for the first time this summer.
Yeah.
And had a garden. I've never had a garden here since I've moved here a couple of years ago. And that has been huge. I mean, gardening is so therapeutic.
Yeah.
And if you can't have a big garden, you can still have a container garden. You can have a flower pot. You can have it on your front porch or your windowsill.
Yeah.
And nurturing that plant, watching it grow. And if it's something edible, that's just icing on the cake there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, that's important. All those are coping skills that can bring somebody so much further from depression than when they started, playing music and dancing and finding something that you enjoy doing every day and finding a way to reward yourself
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
is important.
That's great. I think that being optimistic is still hard to do. So I think that your tips, any kind of optimism that anybody can have, or the things that you were saying, like getting outside, any of that, and then to go off that, like, yes, I feel like you should reward yourself for even those little, like anything that you're not, because like the pessimistic thoughts are so controlling. And I think what you're saying, and obviously you're the expert, but just someone who like does struggle with anxiety and depression at times, like those little moments mean so much, and they can help so much with the way that you're feeling.
Right. And what you just said about pessimistic thoughts, that's something I work with my clients every day about, is recognizing negative self-talk, recognizing anxious self-talk. What are you telling yourself?
Sure.
What are we doing to cause our depression and anxiety? And so many people don't notice their own thoughts because it's so automatic. We have this internal dialogue with ourselves all day long.
Yes.
And they say, Miss Dawn, I don't have any thoughts. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Yes, you do. Let's really practice observing those thoughts. And if they're garbage, if we're telling ourselves things that are not true,
right,
we have to be careful about that, because a thought is just a thought. It's not a fact.
right.
And we have to practice stopping that. Literally telling yourself stop and putting some positive self-affirmations in its place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm in control, I'm calm, I've got this, I'm a survivor, things are getting better.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference when we hear that, instead of telling ourselves gloom and doom all day.
Yeah. Oh, that helps so much. I just got chills like thinking about, because I don't think enough people know that, because your own thoughts are so consuming, and that's literally all that's in your mind most of the time. So that's such a great reminder for people who are struggling right now in anything that's going on.
Well, thank you. And you do spend more time with yourself than anyone else.
Yeah.
And so you have to become your own best friend.
Yeah. Well, good. So your third trend you mentioned was people not really taking it seriously, and them not being in the right environment or the right headspace. So go into detail kind of what you told your clients.
I tell them that they owe it to themselves to prioritize their mental health now more than ever.
Yeah.
And it's a mutual respect thing. I don't want them to shortchange their session.
Yeah.
And, have enough respect for your provider, for your medical provider, for your nurse practitioner, for your psychiatrist, your nurse, your therapist, the CSRs, all of us that are trying to communicate with you to help you in your mental health. Set aside a time, keep that appointment on the calendar. Make sure that you make an appointment that doesn't conflict with work or with
Right.
another appointment, and then just be accountable to keep that time special, and make sure that you go to a quiet place so that our sessions are confidential,
Mm.
and we're not competing with phone and background noise and things like that. And just take it seriously, because mental health is very serious now, especially in this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably something, because it is over the phone, people feel like it's not as, I don't know, like not as professional, or not as just maybe even needed in general, since it's just like a phone call, you can call anyone. So I think that's really um, a, a good reminder, because even like going into therapy, you need to kind of like brace yourself to be that vulnerable, and then even afterwards you need to be in an environment where you can try to like put things in a box and not have to worry about it after. So if you are somewhere public, it's really hard to get to that point of authenticity and vulnerability to begin with. So
Absolutely. I can't wait to meet my clients that have been new to me since March,
yeah.
and even being able to give them a hug one day instead of air hugging 6 foot apart. They're like, I can't wait to meet you. You've helped me so much, and I'll even know what you look like. I wouldn't
Yeah.
recognize them if I saw them in public, but I love my clients. I appreciate the ones that are the troopers. They're just rocking right through this, and they're doing their job. They're answering their phone calls. They're following up with the cognitive behavioral homework.
Mm,
Following up with treatment recommendations is so important.
yeah. Oh, well, that's going to be really special when you can actually meet them in person. I'm sure they're going to be like so excited about that as well.
I hope so. I can't wait either. This isn't going to last forever.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, like it's temporary, and the things that we can tell ourselves, the positive self affirmations are going to be what really gets us through, and the social interactions that we can get, even if that's digitally. So is there anything else that you think would be beneficial to our online audience, or potential clients, or families of people who are kind of struggling with their mental health?
Well, if the online audience is someone who is thinking about coming into mental health and there's a stigma there,
Mm.
I would just say the brain is just an organ like the heart, the liver, the kidneys,
Yeah.
and the body. And if the neurotransmitters are not where they need to be, it's going to manifest itself with problems in your thinking patterns, or in your behaviors and your feelings and your emotions.
Yeah.
And it's just like diabetes or anything else, it can be managed. And that's what we're here to help with. So you owe it to yourself
Mm-hmm.
to value your mental health just as much as your physical health, especially in today's times.
Yeah.
So please come in. If it's a loved one, please encourage them to come in
Sure.
and start the registration process, and let us help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dawn. I really enjoyed getting to talk with you, and I think that your advice is really beneficial for anyone who watches this, whether they suffer that clinical level or just the situational level. So
Absolutely.
but thank you so much, and I guess that is all for now. So thank you again, and I hope anyone watching this enjoyed it. So we'll talk to you guys next time.
My pleasure, Callie. Thank you so much, and you enjoy your day.
Bye bye.
Bye.